There's something so special about protagonists in video games who don't speak. Doom Guy, Isaac Clarke from Dead Space, Link from Legend of Zelda, and even to a degree, Crash Bandicoot. Today I'm going to be adding another favourite silent protagonist to that list, Talk from the Suffering. And it's ironic that his name's Talk, because he doesn't say a fucking word. So The Suffering is a game that Lee got me onto. This was a couple of months ago, and this is a review that's been in the works for a while. PC decided to do or die, moved into my own place, and now I'm finally able to crack on with it, because after such a long wait, got my PC back, and we're ready to crack on. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I know I said crack on twice, but that's how excited I am. So here today we're going to be deep diving into this wonderful hidden gem on the PlayStation 2, developed in 2004 by Midway Games, The Suffering. So I hope you guys enjoy. Strap yourselves in, grab your shivs, grab your meds, and welcome to the weirdly bleak, claustrophobic world of The Suffering. The Suffering was an amazing game to check out, and once again thank you Lee for showing me it. When I told a few people I'd be reviewing it and experiencing it for the first time, they said I was in for a wild ride, and I agree. The game was a blast to play. When I started doing this new format for the channel, it really highlighted a lot of games that I'd missed out on, and it was a blessing in disguise working where I do, because I see all these games and I think, that'd make an interesting video. I did say that about Dragon Age Veilguard, and oh boy, that was a dicey experience. The Suffering was developed and released by Midway Games in 2004 for the PlayStation 2, Xbox and PC. A GameCube port was planned for release, however was scrapped amidst worry for the future of Midway Games. Sadly in 2009 the studio would close down due to bankruptcy, and it's insane knowing that this is the fate of the studio, as The Suffering was the game that effectively put them on the map, and it did wonders for them. The game did get a sequel in 2005, and while I'm aware it may not have performed as well as this one, I'm still eager to check it out and see where it may or may not go wrong. The license of the game as of 2017 is with Warner Bros, and should we get a remaster or a remake of the game on current systems, it'll come directly from them. That is, until they decide, let's just outsource it to another developer. Don't even fucking try it. In this game you play as death row inmate Talk, who killed his family and has no recollection of it happening. He's transported to Carnate Island, home of Abbott State Penitentiary, where after an unfortunate earthquake hits, all hell breaks loose. Evil demons and supernatural threats from the island's past show up and cause untold destruction to both the guards and the prisoners. It's up to you to escape the island and confront your own demons. Did you really kill your family? Were you framed? These are all the questions that you're presented with upon learning who Talk may or may not be. I'd like to talk about the setting of this game to kick things off. It's so damn bleak and hellish, I love it! You start off in the prison and work your way through the forest areas of the island and travel all the way to the asylum where one of your spooky ghost friends, Dr. Killjoy, resides. Killjoy was a doctor in the 1920s and submitted prisoners and patients to horrific forms of poke and prodding, all in the name of science. Killjoy uses projectors to manifest and demonstrate his ability to make you feel seen. All you have to do is destroy the projectors and it limits his ability to mess with you. We also have Hermes, a green ghost with a taste for gas chambers. Hermes was the lead executioner for this method and pushed for it, most because he loved it so much. Over time, Hermes became obsessed with death, and throughout the game you really do get the vibe he's attracted to death in a naughty way. His fight feels more like a test. All you need to do is block vent exits and push them towards the furnace. Once you've done this, Hermes is no longer an obstacle and you can get on your way. Last but by no means least, we have Horace, an inmate from Abbott State Penitentiary who strangled his wife when she visited him and got sent to the chair. His spirit now roams the island, supplying electricity to different areas to help gain access. The fight with Horace is tragic and he's easily the most sympathetic out of the three ghosts. So these three ghosts, they serve a purpose in this game. They're less of an enemy and they're more of an obstacle, but sometimes they're an obstacle that can help you out and sometimes they're there to just poke and prod, and in this instance they're there to poke and prod. Now what you learn to do at this moment in the game when you're in the sewers is you can turn into a gigantic monster and you can just lay waste to whatever is in your path. The only downside to it is if you don't change back into a human, you die. So you've got to kind of watch that resource management a little bit, but it's pretty fun. It's dead quick to get back, and it's a pretty fun mechanic to use. I myself, funnily enough, very rarely used it. I much like the gunplay, but the monster is a nice addition to the kit that Talk has. And what what was interesting about this is it makes you think, is Torque able to turn into a monster? Did he kill his family? You know, he says he's blacked out when it happened, so he has no recollection of it, and it raises a lot of questions as to what is going on with the island. Is he being manipulated by some sort of malevolent force? As the game goes on, you find out more about it. This monster that you turn into, there is an alternate opening to the game when you've finished it, where it shows Torque arriving on the island, and these prisoners try to gang up on him, try to ambush him, and he turns into the monster and just kills them, just absolutely murders them, and then that adds weight to the theory of, is he, isn't he? It's some really, really interesting stuff, some interesting threads that they introduce in the game. Also, I would just like to say that Hermes sounds a lot like Nicolas Cage, and now that I've said it, you can't unhear it.
Because you understand how it feels. They needed someone professional to pull the switch. A lot of eager sadists applied, but I was the only one who took the work seriously. So seriously, I wanted to taste the gas myself. That's what carnate does. It brings out the killer inside. It's the perfect place for you and me.
These enemy types bring enough variety to the table to spice things up and keep it fresh. The enemies aren't exactly that hard to kill, but they're really unique, and that's what makes them stand out. Not every enemy can be killed with the guns. Some of them do require a bit of outside the box thinking, you know, explosions, dynamite, flashbangs to a degree. The game doesn't tell you how to deal with them, but you would just automatically assume that, oh well, if the guns aren't going to work, then it must be something else. But you are kitted up in weapons, so you're not stuck for choice on what to use. There's also an enemy known as Torque's Hatred, which we're going to talk about him more later. The game has a section dedicated to the details of all these different creatures and where they stemmed from. I was blown away by how in-depth this was, as it was such a unique way of justifying where they came from and why they are the way they are. Throughout the game, you'll encounter people who can help you, and this is a brief introduction to the morality system that the game boasts. There are 3 different endings to the game, 1 good, 1 neutral, and 1 bad. You can keep track of your progress of your morality through the picture of Torque's wife and kids in the inventory. The cleaner the picture is, the better your ending. The more dirty it is, the worse your ending will be. By the time you reach the end, you'll see a different murder depending on how good or how bad you were throughout the game. I'm not going to spoil these endings, as I do feel like they're very good and almost feel like a different ending for different playstyles. When you encounter other people in the prison, you'll be greeted with 2 voices, one sounding demonic and one sounding human. The human voice is your wife, pleading for you to help save the person in question, whereas the demonic voice begs for you to kill them and go it alone. Another way you can keep track of the morality is Torque's appearance. The more human looking he is, the better the outcome. The more demonic he looks, the worse the ending will be. The game's not overly long. I think Lee and I got it all ticked off for about 4 or 5 hours. The game starts off quite linear with barely any room for exploration, but then once you get outside you can go and explore, and it's handy for finding items you need to make the journey more manageable. The items you can collect are flashlight batteries, ammunition, and zombium to heal yourself with. I think I'm pronouncing that right. The weapons you collect are all fun to use, and this game utilises them well. These weapons are pistol, Tommy gun, dual pistols, shotgun, flashbang, dynamite, shiv, fire axe, flamethrower, Browning M2 turret, gonzo gun, Molotov cocktails, and shrapnel grenades. Some weapons work better than others on different enemies, but the gunplay is very much a product of the time. The level design's great in this game. The prison's very reminiscent of Alcatraz, and the asylum's very reminiscent of Arkham Asylum. Quarry's my least favourite area of the game, but it introduces a lot of verticality to the level and switches it up. The boss fights are fairly straightforward and really only feel like tougher versions of regular enemies.
But Jack, I'm confused. Isn't that just basically what boss fights are anyway?
The last boss of the game, known as Torque's Hatred, is the manifestation of, well, Torque's Hatred? I was going to say who wrote this, but it was me. I wrote this. This boss is the biggest enemy that you encounter, as it resembles a gigantic version of the monster Torque transforms into, with chains wrapped around it and a little itty bitty Torque wrapped around its umbilical cord. We've detached so far from Demonic Nightmare and now entered the world of Eldritch Horror. The fight was really good, and it held up really, really well and was a satisfying way to end the game. Sound design in this game is fantastic, and that comes from both atmosphere and music. The behind the scenes portion of this game, which is so nice to see. I feel like games don't have this anymore. The way that the devs were able to create the sound for this game is fantastic. I mean, just check this out.
I worked with the composer to come up with sort of a hybrid idea there where we would extract the elements for the music from the sound design. And gathered up objects that were made of various elements: stone, steel, things that had long tones. We were using aluminum rods that were 10 and 12 feet long, and getting them to resonate lengthwise. We were then striking them horizontally. Just about anything we could think of to create sonic signatures that were not typically used in game soundtracks.
You can tell a lot of thought went into the game. You can tell a lot of love went into the game. It feels like a passion project in a lot of places. And like I say, it's such a shame what happened to Midway in 2009 going bankrupt, because this was a game that put them on the map. So it's crazy that this was how things would turn out for Midway. But if we had a remake, could you imagine the suffering done in the vein of a Dead Space remake? Like, just imagine the suffering with the Dead Space remake aesthetic. That's a moneymaker right there. That sounds terrifying. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for the patience on waiting for the next review. It should have been on months ago, but like I say, PC did die. I'm just getting back in the swing of things, getting my own place, having a setup. Now that I've got my own setup, I can have people involved in the videos a lot more easier. You know, it's a bit more manageable, but I really appreciate the support on the channel, and I can't wait to show you what I have cooking up next. It's gonna be a good year. 2026 is gonna be a good year for content, so I appreciate the support, guys. We are now 154 subscribers, which is nuts. I've been doing a lot of reels in the meantime, a lot of Marvel Rival ones, and a lot of Dead by Daylight ones as well, and they seem to be hitting off really, really well. So we are currently on, like I say, 154 subscribers. My goal is 160. Working our way up to 200, and this is just a dream come true. So again, thank you so much, guys. I will see you in the next review video leading up to Resident Evil 9 Requiem, which is where we are going to be talking about Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8. So keep an eye out for that video. If not the day of Resi 9's release, it will be around that time. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye bye.